Okay, fam, it's MA Truth. Ran across this young lady's YouTube page, Israel's Redemption. I haven't seen anything that she's done recently, but I found this one to be rather interesting. So we're going to give it a woo and hear what the sister has to say. I think you might appreciate it.
Shalom, everybody. Um, in this video, I wanted to share some information with you guys that you might not be aware of. And I just want to make you aware of it because I know that it's very important. It's one thing for you to hear from our people when they explain to you from the scriptures that we are not supposed to mix. We're not supposed to marry white people, mix with them, or anything like that. But it's a different thing when we look in the scriptures in our own language and we're able to see that information, to see what our forefathers were involved with and why they got themselves in so much trouble. You know, we're reading the scriptures a lot about Baal. Now, the white people will tell you in their religions that Baal was a deity, a Phoenician deity. But there again, that's them lying by omission, because Baal was not a Phoenician deity. Baal was followed by the Phoenicians. And our people started following the lead of Baal as well. But the key is knowing what that word means. When we deal with our language, and this is something I have learned myself, when we're dealing with our language, we can't deal with it the same way we're taught to learn and work with or talk with the English language. Okay, the English language is a Germanic language.
Yep,
The Germans, the sons of Gomer, the Gomerites in the scriptures. But we are not Gomerites. We're not Gentiles. We are not Europeans. We descend from a people whose language is very different. We are Shemitic people. When we approach our language, we have to deal with each word we come across as a tree. And for every living tree, obviously there is a root. And our language is exactly the same way, is root dependent. And you've heard a lot of people say that the Shemitic dialects are consonantal, right? So there are no vowels. Vowel pointings are added later. Of course, our people, when they spoke, they used vowel sounds, but not vowel symbols like they do in English. Strangers, or non-Shemites, people who basically impose themselves into our people, into our customs and culture, who were determined to pretend to be us, had to add those vowel pointings for themselves to help them remember. But the natives, our people, didn't have to do that. So what I want to do is I want to basically share with you from our language what the tree called Baal or Baal is really about. Because a lot of people make the mistake of referring to Satan, right? The fallen angel, they refer to him as Satan, as if that's his name. But in our language, the word Satan is not a name. It's not a proper noun. It's used to describe someone's actions, which makes them a Satan or the Satan. The same way they misuse the word Yah, because they're treating the word the way they've been taught to treat words in the English language. In the video that I'm going to post as a reply to YouTuber Kimberly, who sent me the questions, I'll explain that about the word Yah, as well as the word Yahweh. Which is why when you reading in the scriptures in our language and you come across the expression Yah Baal, and you realize that the word Yah is exactly like the word Satan, it doesn't mean the same thing, but it's used the same way. The word Satan is not a name. The word Yah is not a name. The word Baal describes not a statue that was worshipped by the Phoenicians, not a deity in the terms of how we're taught to define the word deity, but it's actually people. Baal is, and a lot of you might want to sit down for this, especially if you're white.
Yeah.
Baal is the white man. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you this from our language, because now remember what the Most High said, that he's going to make sure you get the truth. And he also said that if you are studying to show yourself approved, our language will speak to you anyway. The truth will jump out at you. And you're going to discover things that are just horrifying. It's for that very reason when white people started digging around in our languages and realized who they are and what they descend from, fallen angels, they became atheists. And of course, what our forefathers wrote about white people is what caused atheism, I believe, over in Europe. Why so many Europeans were persecuted back in the past when they were found with copies of our scriptures, our writings. And why they have tried so many times to ban the Bible, the so-called Bible. They've also tried so many different times to rewrite it. And when they couldn't do that, they just removed whole sections from it. So you can't pretend to be a whole people, a whole nation of people, and start digging around in their languages. You start finding out the truth and you realize, wait a minute, I don't want to be this. Because our language exposes them, strips them naked.
And with that being said, it's one of my things. You know, we all got something that we focus on. So for me, it is about language. It is about the spells that we're under, as she is attesting to. I was going to say alluding to, but she's not alluding to anything. She's telling us straight out. Yeah, language. You know, we got to pay attention. But there is more to this than what she's saying, and I'm going to move ahead a little bit and see if I can pick it up, because it's important for us to understand what time it is. I'm going to start it right here and see where we go. Hang on.
Two, they engage in spirit worship. They call it ancestor worship. They worship spirits. And see, you read in the scriptures, you're going to see the Most High talking to our people and telling them to leave those demons alone. Because the demons who descend from fallen angels impersonate people you know. You think it's your relative talking to you. It's not. But those people in those tribes are still engaging in the same tomfoolery, the same foolishness. They haven't stopped. We are not supposed to mix with the descendants of the angels. It's in the scriptures. Yeah, the demons try to hide that information. That's why you only have 66 of your letters. The other books they keep from you explains all of that. And that's why I want to talk to you and tell you about Baal, who Baal is. But first I want you to watch this video of Chief Warhorse. And she's going to talk to you guys and share some information. Yeah, she's alive. She's still alive. Be surprised. Because, see, in the scriptures, when the Most High gives us instructions about how we're supposed to dress, he says in Zephaniah that he's going to punish those who wear the strange garments of foreign nations. He gave us a dress code as a nation. Our dress identifies us. It identifies which nation we belong to. We're supposed to have on our frontlet band. And inside those frontlet bands is supposed to be the law. Yeah, supposed to be the law covenant. It's supposed to be in there. You're supposed to have one wrapped around your arm, a bracelet. And you're supposed to take that off. Whenever you're traveling, you're supposed to be able to take that off and open up that scroll and read your law. And there won't be any excuse if you're traveling abroad from your homeland or wherever you are to say, I forgot, I didn't know we couldn't do that. Because it's going to be written on your scroll. I have mine. I wear mine. I made a video showing you how to put fringes on your garments. Some even put them on like their sleeves and arms and stuff. But we're supposed to be dressed. You know, it's not enough to walk around with your chest stuck out claiming I'm from the house of Yaakov, but you don't look like it. You don't live like it. You know, so that's why I'm making this video for our people. I feel it's my responsibility, right? You look after your family members. But check out this video with Chief Warhorse. And then we're going to take a look at Baal to see who he is.
The hardest part I've seen in my fight, and I'm the chief of the tribe, is when you come up against people of color as well as European descent, and you say Indians, they're looking for the Bill Cody, Long Ranger Tonto style thing. And when you actually show them that the indigenous people were actually my color, as I have a habit telling people, a cocoa brown, or a brown piece of leather well put together. I have a lot of ways of using slangs to tell people that we are still here because we were not weak. We were here before DeSoto and Christopher Columbus. You have to be strong to make it through those disasters. During Katrina, I told them Katrina was not a Category 5. My people had came through some Category 5s, and we survived them. So Katrina, to me, was going to be an easy thing to survive. Because when you're hit by a category named DeSoto, Category 5, and it lingers around for 400 to 500 years, steady beating on the shore, and it just won't move, that's a disaster. Not a disaster that just come and go, but a disaster that's still lingering. Then when you have a person like George Washington, that was a Category 5. He hit, and we're still lingering because he's still on shore. Okay? So that's two categories sitting on shore at the same time. I have Christopher Columbus, Category 5, still sitting on shore, beating up on us. Okay? So then I have Andrew Jackson. Can that be a Category 10?
Yeah.
Okay, because if I could rank him, he's a 10. He's still beating on us.
Yes.
None of these European storms have moved. At least Katrina hit. I wish it was drum beats, but it's not. It's not something you can dance to.